Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon. Hey, everybody. welcome to the Maryland State House. And first, as ever and as always, I first want to start just by thanking my partners inside the work. Our Lieutenant Governor, Aruna Miller, our House Speaker, Adrian Jones, and our Senate President, Bill Ferguson. I want to also take a moment to thank all of our committee leaders who are in both the House and the Senate, and also all of our state legislators for the hard work that you continue to do and continue to show, not just by your presence here, but for the work you do 365 days, that the idea that this is a part-time legislature is just not true. But I want to thank each and every one of you. I also want to take a moment to thank the members of the Moore-Miller administration, our cabinet secretaries and our agency heads, and also the members of the legislative team, who every single time we put these things together make it look flawless, because it is, but I want to underscore and just be thankful for all the work that it takes to make this work happen. So thank you all very, very much. And most importantly, I want to take a moment to thank all Marylanders. All the Marylanders who came down here during the brutal winter months to make their voices heard, the ones who came and testified, the ones who told really heartbreaking stories on behalf of making change, the ones who have taken their own personal tragedies because they wanted to make sure that people knew that there was an opportunity to turn into a legislative triumph. And the people who continue to fight for all Marylanders, the ones that they know and don't know, because every Marylander is worth fighting for. And I want to also take a special moment to recognize a very special Marylander who's with us today, because about a year and a half ago, I had the honor of meeting Sergeant Patrick Kemp. Sergeant Kemp was chased down, and he was run over by a car while on duty. Run over by a car when he was serving fellow Marylanders. He was a person who was willing to raise his hand and serve in a way and a capacity that for many Marylanders, they have not and would not. But Sergeant Kemp is a person who doesn't just live out integrity and honor, but someone who exudes it in every way and every day. And earlier this year, the person who attacked Sergeant Kemp was found guilty of second-degree assault, but no legal action will ever undo the actions of that individual that day. And so this year, Marylanders came together to turn pain into purpose and introduced the Sergeant Patrick Kemp Act, cracking down on reckless driving. And today, I am very proud to sign that into law. Patrick, your name's in the rafters, man. And you made history. I've had the joy of spending time with him, and recently at the Public Safety Awards, of cheering on our O's, who need some cheering right now.
Or pitching.
Yeah, or pitching. They need some pitching too. But Patrick, you really are a true hero, man. And it's an honor to have you here with us. And I also want to recognize two legislators, the legislators who continue to push for and advocate for not just this bill, but also made sure that, that with their votes, make sure that this bill now is something that the entire state is going to be proud of. I also want to thank two legislators who also passed legislation that speak to the values that we have as a state. And I want to recognize Delegate Lopez and Senator Gazone, who I think are somewhere around here. Well, we're going to clap for them anyway. Because they crafted a bill to establish a public health abortion grant program at the Department of Health. The Lieutenant Governor and I were very clear from day one that Maryland will always be a safe haven for abortion access. And one of the first acts that I signed as governor was ordering the release of $3.5 million for abortion care that was previously withheld by our predecessors. And earlier this year, I was proud to sign a constitutional amendment to enshrine the protections of Roe v. Wade into the Maryland State Constitution. And now, we write the next chapter in our work to protect and defend basic health care rights. And lastly, I want to talk about two pieces of legislation that will help to protect our greatest heirloom, and that's our environment. The first bill deals with something that might seem relatively insignificant, but has an outsized impact on our environment. And I know this for a fact because just this past recent Mother's Day, where I order a Mother's Day gift for Dawn, and I order online, and it arrives, and when it arrives, it is just absolutely covered in packaging and insulation and wrapping. And while I was glad that it helped it get there safely, I realized that so much of that stuff is just completely unnecessary. And everybody's been there. And frankly, all of that excessive wrapping is not just annoying. It comes at an environmental cost. A lot of this packaging will just get thrown out instead of getting recycled. And this year, Senator Augustine introduced a bill to ensure we have the right systems and the right structures to place recycled materials and make sure they actually get recycled, those materials they put into all this packaging. Senator Augustine has been a true leader on this issue for a long time, and we're grateful for his continued leadership. But I also know that these things do not happen just because. It also takes advocates and citizens who are pushing forward. And I want to thank our partners at McCormick and our partners at the Maryland, Delaware, DC Beverage Association for their leadership in making this happen. They've been strong advocates. And it's because of that collaboration, that work, that we are going to continue to have a green and a growing Maryland. And today I will also sign our administration's bill to execute a comprehensive restoration strategy for the Chesapeake Bay. It is called the Chesapeake Bay Legacy Act, and it will uplift every single sector of our Bay economy. And with this bill, the message that the General Assembly, the message that this administration, the message that Maryland is sending is we are not fiddling around the margins on this. We are taking real actions to boost restoration and to build a legacy. From modernizing our water quality programs to cutting red tape on aquaculture leases to streamlining the permitting process, to ensure fisheries don't just survive, but that fisheries actually have a chance to thrive. We have a responsibility to be able to hand over a state to the next generation that's better than the way that we found it. That's the whole point of an heirloom. Take care of it, protect it, and make sure you can pass something off to the next generation. It's not just a moral priority, it is an economic priority. Because tourism alone around the Chesapeake Bay generates over $3.2 billion in economic activity annually. That clean water and durable habitats drive Maryland's seafood industry, which contributes about $600 million to the state's economy every single year. Our economic strength is derived just as much from our rivers and our trails and our farms and our forests as they are from our cities and our towns. This legislation marks a critical step forward in both preserving our bay and driving economic growth. This is the most comprehensive piece of Chesapeake Bay legislation that Maryland has seen in years, and I cannot wait to sign it. And at a time when we see how our federal administration has stepped back from protecting our air and our water, Maryland is stepping up. And the reason that we are so proud of this legislation is because we know who it is going to help. Nia Moya is the founder and owner and operator of Beauty Bloom Farms in Montgomery County. She is focused on farming practices that improve soil health, so the land that she works on today remains productive tomorrow and for generations to come. Nia's outlook marries economic growth with public service, doing what she can both to feed the community while also being a good steward of the land. Beauty Bloom Farm is housed on state property that was leased to Nia by our Department of Natural Resources, and that kind of partnership is rare. But the Bay Legacy Act will make these kinds of lease agreements easier, making it easier to strike these kind of agreements between our administration and our farmers. This way, more Marylanders like Nia can benefit from state support and grow their businesses, and more Marylanders can benefit from the kind of support that farmers like Nia are providing to us. And so, Nia, for all of your trailblazing work and for all the work that you did to make today happen, I want to present you with our first ceremonial pen with a deep set of gratitude from the people of the state of Maryland. God bless you, Nia, and thank you so much. And now with that, I am honored to turn the podium over to my partner and our remarkable Lieutenant Governor, Aruna Miller.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's a great honor to be with all of you, and especially Sergeant Kep. What an honor to be in this space with you. Thank you, Governor Moore, for standing up for Maryland's land, water, and people. As I said, good afternoon to all of you. Let me ask you this simple question. What kind of legacy do we want to leave behind? Will it be one that's defined by missed opportunities or by bold choices that leave a lasting impact? Today, with every bill that will be signed, we're choosing the latter. The Chesapeake Bay Legacy Act, as Governor Moore cited, aligns environmental conservation with economic development. And that balance starts with understanding just how vast and vital the Bay truly is. The Chesapeake Bay is the nation's largest estuary, stretching across 6 states and the District of Columbia, and home to more than 18 million people and over 3,600 species of plants and animals. So safeguarding a resource of this scale requires more than just respect for the past. It demands forward-looking solutions that are smart. Environmental responsibility isn't the only kind of accountability we're advancing today. We're also working to make government more accessible to the people it serves. From the public health abortion grant program that the governor spoke of, to expanding access for those navigating language or disability barriers. When I first came to this country, I didn't speak a word of English. I remember feeling so overwhelmed, sitting in classrooms where there were signs that I couldn't read, conversations that I couldn't understand. But I also remember my ESOL teachers who took the time to help me, who made sure I received the additional support I needed, and who made me feel like I belonged. The Equal Access to Public Service Act is about extending that same support to every Marylander so that no matter what language someone speaks or how they move through the world, they're seen, they're heard, and they are served. So I want to give a big shout out to the legislator who championed this, Gabe Acevero. Thank you so much for your leadership. This same spirit of inclusion is at the heart of another important bill, Eric's ID law. It allows individuals with non-apparent disabilities, such as autism, to voluntarily display a butterfly symbol on their state-issued IDs. This thoughtful and compassionate initiative was inspired by Montgomery County's Eric Carpenter Grantham. A heartfelt shout out to Eric and Linda Carpenter Grantham, Chairman Smith and Delegate Wilkins for their advocacy in helping Maryland lead with empathy. Now, progress is rarely easy. It doesn't happen overnight, and it's never perfect. But it's always, always worth it. Because the future we want won't come from us waiting. It comes from answering the needs of our land, water, and our people now. All of these bills signed today, great and small, are a testament to that. So to every legislator, advocate, staffer, community leader, and the members of the Moore-Miller administration, thank you. Your fingerprints are on Maryland's future, not someday, but today. Not for a moment, but for generations to come. And that's what legacy looks like. Thank you. Now it's my great pleasure to introduce the next speaker, Senate President Bill Ferguson.
Well, thank you, Madam Lieutenant Governor. I know it's going to be a good day because I am surrounded by mothers on either side today and speaking. And so a happy belated Mother's Day to the wonderful mother leaders that I have the opportunity to work with. And to all of those in the room, this was a special weekend that we're able to celebrate the superhero mothers that are out there that make this world turn. And so I just want to thank each and every one of them. It is the spirit of that work that makes Maryland such an incredible place. And another mother, our incredible majority leader in the Maryland Senate, Nancy King, who is the champion of the Kemp Act, who said from the very beginning of session, if there's one thing I have to get done, I have to get the Kemp Act done. And so I just want to thank her very much for her great, great work. This is our fourth year, our fourth bill signing ceremony. So we've said a lot about each of the different bills, and we still continue to exist within the unbelievable uncertainty that is coming from the federal level. But these moments and these bill signings always give me the sense of confidence of what strong legislative and executive leadership can look like. When we come together as a bicameral chambers across agencies, across the branches of government, with bipartisan support, we are able to do some pretty remarkable things. And I just want to highlight, I know we have a busy day today, so I just want to highlight a couple of those. The Lieutenant Governor rightfully pointed out Eric's Law, which is Senate Bill 618, which Chairman Will Smith was a champion for several years. And just as a quick story for how this comes about and what great legislating can look like, as well, Chair of our Black Caucus, Janelle Wilkins, this was a bill that didn't happen overnight. And Senator Smith, several years ago, said, I really need you to meet with this family. You need to meet with my constituent, Eric. He's got this idea that's a little bit complicated of using a voluntary logo that is voluntarily added to an identification card so that in the case of a stop or an arrest or any type of interaction with any public official, that on someone's ID they could note in a private, personal way that there may be an underlying thing that they aren't able to fully disclose out in public. It's something that's complicated because you can imagine all of the issues that arise. And so for several years, we tried to work through these different issues, and we had the disability community come to the table with a lot of concerns. And as we worked through the process year after year, we came forward with what now will be signed into law as Eric's ID law, which is this compassionate measure named, as we said, a Marylander whose experience, his own experience, is what led to this greater awareness of non-apparent disabilities. This is exactly what we most expect out of the General Assembly, is to find a problem, maybe we have an idea of how to fix it, and it takes a couple sessions to really work through all of the details to get to a place where we enact it in law and move our society forward. So I want to thank Chairman Smith for such incredible efforts on that front. Also, in the midst of very heavy things that we're dealing with, from the federal government to international wars, it is also important in the General Assembly session to highlight some of the important reflective things that come up and that each year help us remember what it means to be a Marylander. And so this year, with the help of a number of folks, but certainly our Democratic caucus chair, Craig Zucker, was the leader of SB 764, which started as just the state mineral. Anyone know? Chromite, there it is. Of course, it was quite loud enough, you know. But in all seriousness, a wonderful story that it's out there. But then eventually, with the help of, we had a number of conversations about moving forward, about how can we make this session and find some things that Marylanders can really be proud of and take back from Delaware what was rightfully ours from the beginning, which was adding in to find the state drink, which would be Maryland's Orange Crush. And so we will be signing that into law today as well. You have to find places to really engage. Another bill that we'll be signing is from Senator Katie Hester, who's been doing some just remarkable work around cybersecurity. This is Senate Bill 871, and it is focusing on our water and sewage systems and the threat that we have from cybersecurity. We know that there are international actors that are looking for vulnerabilities, and in our water, in our sewer systems, increasingly they are more computer-driven and complex. The work that Senator Hester has been doing nationally to bring best practices here will be a first-in-a-nation protection forum for how local jurisdictions can partner with the state to protect from international threats abroad to our cybersecurity systems. Last, and not, but certainly not least, is an issue that I just want to sort of set the context with very briefly. We know that there are a lot of big questions ahead for state finances, and one of the big drivers that we've talked a lot about is around Medicaid and the access to health care. And what we know is that we're at a crossroads. There are two different paths we can take. There is one path that we are seeing coming out of the congressional Republicans who put forward a plan for what to do with Medicaid. It is a slash and cut approach that is really designed to take health care away from individuals. Why? In order to balance the budget to pay for tax credits. Just this week, the plan that has been announced by congressional Republicans will cut, on average, from the bottom 20% of Americans, $1,125. $1,125 will be cut from the bottom line of the bottom 20%. What does that pay for? What are those cuts, taking that health care away, be it through work requirements for Medicaid or changing eligibility requirements? Well, what it does is it says that the top 20% of Americans will receive $6,330. So the bottom 20% will lose $1,125. The top 20% will gain $6,330 as people are moved off of Medicaid rolls to pay for tax cuts. That's one option. The other option is to look at other ways to bend the cost curve. And that's like what Chair Beidel did, Chair Pam Beidel, which was passed Senate Bill 372 with also Delegate Pena-Melnick, who's a wonderful chair, and they've worked together very closely on this, which is focusing on preserving telehealth, saying that instead of just looking about how to take health insurance away, how do we actually expand access and get people care to therefore lower the cost of care overall for all of us? That's the second choice, and that's the choice that Maryland will be making moving forward because of the leadership of the members of the General Assembly and the executive team that work with them. So I am so thrilled to be here today to celebrate this important moment for Maryland as we set and chart a path for the difference of what the future can look like. And I am so incredibly thrilled to thank and introduce my wonderful partner, Speaker Adrian Jones.
I'm the last. I'm the oldest. Good afternoon, everyone. I want to start. Governor. I want to start by thanking Governor Moore and Senate President Ferguson for their partnership throughout the 2025 legislative session. I also want to thank all of you for staying focused during these challenging and unprecedented times. As we said many times throughout session, it is difficult to plan for the recent unprecedented federal actions. But for House Democrats, finding creative ways to protect our values is nothing new, regardless of who is in the White House. And today's legislation is proof of that. For the past 100 days, we've seen the Trump administration continue its reckless assault on environmental protections. They have proposed eliminating funding for bay restoration programs, rolled back water pollution regulations, terminated the Maryland Conservation Corps program, and just last week, they told federal agencies to stop evaluating the impact of climate change when developing new regulation. So today, I'm proud that we are signing bills to protect Maryland's environment and push back against climate denial. Bills like the Extended Producer Responsibility Program, which shows we are going to account for the economic and societal impacts of climate change when it comes to packaging waste and recycling system. House Bill 131, which updates the Chesapeake Bay Restoration Fund to keep it focused on improving water quality and meeting our bay restoration goals. And House Bill 277, our practical bill to reduce our reliance on single-use plastic water bottles. I want to thank Chair Mark Corman, Vice Chair Regina Boyce, and Speaker Pro Tem Dana Stein for leading these efforts. But it wasn't just environmental protections we had to put in place this session. From day one of the Trump administration, we knew that access to health care and reproductive services would be under attack. And on Sunday night, Republicans in Congress has unveiled their latest attempt to fund tax cuts for the rich. Billions of dollars of cuts to Medicaid. Using a similar language to what we heard on our House floor this year, they say these cuts will eliminate waste, fraud, and abuse. But they will really close hospitals, raise premiums for our most vulnerable communities, and increase uncompensated care. So under the leadership of Chair Jocelyn Pena-Melnick and Vice Chair Bonnie Collison, we fought back to provide a health care safety net for all Marylanders. We passed House Bill 1082 to protect nearly 200,000 Marylanders from losing their financial support for their health insurance should the Trump administration let it expire at the end of the year. As Republicans threaten to defend Planned Parenthood, we passed House Bill 1045 to update legislation from 2017 that made Maryland the first state in the nation to guarantee continued funding for family planning and women's health services. And we passed House Bill 930 to establish a public health abortion grant program ensuring equitable access to abortion care for our state. Because no matter how many times we affirm a woman's right to reproductive health care, there will be those who continue to undermine it. I also want to thank Delegate Leslie Lopez for her hard work on this innovative piece of legislation. As you can see, we did our best to put as many federal protections as possible in place this session. But moving forward, the work is going to get more difficult as our basic rights continue to be used as a bargaining chip for tax cuts for the ultra-wealthy. Every day will bring a new challenge, but we are ready. I'm proud to have leaders like Chair Corman and Chair Pena-Melnick and our Joint Federal Action Oversight Committee with me. Their leadership has proven that they are ready to formulate appropriate responses to protect Marylanders for harmful actions taken by the federal government. Part of that work starts with implementing the policies before us today. So, as I always say at the end, let's get these bills signed.
also get a folks down at the other end of the road.
Move down this way, folks. Move down this way.
All the way down, if I get 2 rows.
Come on, 2 rows. Move down this way. Move down this way. Second row, move down this way, please.
More space.
Now, Bill, 506, our bay needs to fix. Hey! Right here. Thank you very much.
There you go, Joe.
Thank you very much.
State government for access to public services for individuals
Don't go too far, safe.
state government equal access to public services for individuals with limited individuals with
Folks, come around, wrap around this way, please. Wrap around this way. Faces. House Bill 1473. Right here, please and thank you. Your hair looks bad.
You're talking to me, right, Joe?
You got it. All right, 1473.
All right, folks, so we can head to the door, please. Thank you. You're good?
House Bill 7.
All right, folks, 1473. Thank you. One, 4, 7, 3, this way, please.
down, everyone. We can move on to the next bill. I apologize.
Bill 719, you are looking fine.
You are looking fine, Josh Kurtz. Best looking secretary.
House Bill 930,
I love when we heckle people.
Public Health Abortion Grant Program Establishment.
930, 848, 930, 848. Give me 2 rows if you can, folks. 2 rows, all the way down, please. 930.
sponsors, please. Prime sponsors should stay for the second shot. Come all the way around. You can't stop for a minute, please. Come all the way around to this side. We need to squeeze more people in around. Squeeze more people in on this side, please. Come down this way, please. Come down this way. Keep going like that. Bring back here by the flag. Not the sponsor, please head out. Thank you so much.
All right, folks,
over, folks. Come all the way over, please. Anybody else from SB 930?
Getting tight, folks. Keep the road, keep the road.
Now, Phil, 930. Let's get back on your toes. Make sure we see all those beautiful faces. You got people you cannot see. And, you know what? Yeah. All right, right here. 1, 2, and 3. Thank you very much. Next bill, please.